Nintendo Switch players, it's your time to shine. Now, I'm not the most Nintendo guy, did I say that right? But I know about Nintendo and I know about the Switch, and that makes me qualified to talk about the games. And also the console. I'm kidding, I'm not that stupid. I know what the Switch is. I've had the joy of holding it in my hand a few times, and I know a few people who own it and are happy with it. Now, I'm not saying I'm a qualified expert on this matter, but if my friends are happy with what they're playing, then I suppose I could suggest those games to you. Now, first up, we have a cute little game called Snipper Clips. Now, this game looks to be pretty lightweight, no fancy graphics, no overly complicated mechanics and systems, and you know what? Sometimes it's the simplest of games that are the most fun. It's a very simple game, really, nothing too special. Now, it's not a competitive game per se, but you can play against other friends and family that you're playing with. Now, about the puzzles, they're not always, cut yourselves to fit into a shape or, look like this. You can interact with the world and with items that you will need to solve the said puzzle, but still, most of the puzzles revolve around having to cut each other into shapes. Now, what about the price? Well, it's pretty cheap, you don't have to scrounge for pennies. Next up, we have Cuphead. I remember reading an article, or I don't know, maybe it was just an opinion or part of a video, and it stated that this game was a Dark Souls equivalent, in terms of difficulty, rather. Whether or not that statement still holds true, or is fact or false, or made up in my mind or not, doesn't really matter. Cuphead is a 2D game and it's pretty stylistic, at least in my opinion. I like the style. It's got that retro early 1930s, maybe 1940s cartoon style. It's basically very, 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 very nostalgic. I love it. Now, Cuphead the game, is pretty hard. It's frustratingly hard, especially on solo, I guess, that's why it's called the Dark Souls equivalent or something. Now, I've tried it, and by God, I felt like I had to train myself for days before I could even play the first few levels. You could play the game single player, or you could play it with someone else on the same system. But, I think, you'd rather play it with someone else considering it's hard enough to play on your own. I don't think anyone wants to struggle and suffer and just sweat and try too hard moving from level to level just to feel nice about themselves, Play this with someone. That's always enjoyable, and it makes it easier. Moving on, we have It Takes Two. Now, this is strictly a 2-player game. I'd like to see you try to make it a 3 or 4-player game. Basically, the story is about a couple going through a divorce, yada yada yada. I won't spoil the story for you. The graphics aren't exactly mind-blowing, but they're not bad. Honestly, why talk about graphics anyway? It's not the most important thing, I guess. In some cases it's not. Some games look great, but they have pretty bad stories and gameplay, so there's that. Now, It Takes Two is a puzzle-solving game. It's also a platformer game, and you need the other person to be able to progress through the game. You can't go it alone, because if you do, well, you really can't go far. Basically, you're not gonna go far. Now, the game itself is not really a children-friendly game. It's rated for teens. There's some violence in it, and it has some mature themes, but not like adult themes, There's not a lot of bad reviews toward the game as well, so, I think that's a testament to just how great the game is. Here's another plus to the game. If you know someone who owns a legitimate copy of the game, you can play with them for free. And if it's the other way around, as in you knowing someone who doesn't own a copy of the game while you own a legitimate copy of the game, then they can play with you for free. Ain't that dandy? Penultimately, we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This game, like Cuphead and It Takes Two, offers only 2-player co-op. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is an adventure game. Now, first thing I'd like to address is the OST. It's just, it's just so nice, it sounds modern yet somehow so bitterly sweetly nostalgic. Bittersweetly nostalgic, sorry. Now, as for the graphics, it looks astounding. outstanding, astounding, both words, Now on to my main review. The game isn't perfect. No game ever is. Now this game isn't close to perfect too. I just wanted to say that. Or maybe this game is close to perfect, I don't know, but I think it's pretty polished, but that doesn't make it perfect, of course. I guess it all comes down to preference eventually. Honestly though, why wouldn't you play this game? It's cute as heck, from Kirby to the whole game itself. I mean, Kirby should be the reason you should also be playing this game, Honestly though, why wouldn't you play this game? Well, I did say that already. It's a game that you think you won't miss out on until you eventually play it, and then you're gonna be like, how did I miss this? Anyway, finally, we have the one, the only, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I have to admit, this game has piqued my curiosity, but not for the reasons it should have. I always thought this game was, well, childish, cartoony, for children, you get the idea. I only wanted to see what all the fuss was about. Hell, even a friend I asked told me it should be at least, first or second place on lists for co-op games. He also says I have to pick up a Switch and buy it. Never really got the hype for it. Now, I know why. It's cartoony. Yes, it is. And it is properly cartoony. It is very laid back. As in, there's no need to grind, it's casual, it's cozy, it's chill, it's pretty relaxed, it's kind of like Sims and Pokemon, I guess. Or maybe that comparison is a bit too much. I don't think you can really compare this game to anything else because it's just itself, It's just the game itself, and voila. It presents itself to you on a silver platter, and it is up to you what to do with it. What to do in game, how to do things in game, and all that other stuff. It's a game that you'll find yourself adoring, especially when you're new to the franchise like me. The other stuff, the game doesn't have an artificial day and night system. Instead of that, the time in game reflects the time in real life. If it's 5 p.m. where you live, it's 5 p.m. in your game. It's pretty neat, in my opinion. And I think the cuteness of the game is a very big charm point to it. It's just really cute and adorable. And of course, I can't forget it's co-op, if you want to play with your spouse or your significant other, or maybe just your siblings, or maybe cousins, and parents, and nieces, and nephews, and uncles, and aunts, and you get the idea. Now, these games offer a change of pace compared to the modern gaming scene, so why not try them out? Give yourself some breathing space from all the flops and slops that people call games today. Chill out, You don't always have to be a famous super cool hero with superpowers to save the day from like some brand or something. Anyway, check out the links in the description below for those games, or you can scan the QR code on the screen if you should ever want to scan it instead. It's convenient for some people. Anyway, I won't take more of your time. Enjoy these games and have a wonderful day.